Call and response is used by some of the top producers out there for dance music. Figuring out how to do it in your own music can really benefit you guys because it will make your drop sound more complex while still keeping simple, all by respecting the space of sounds and using a combination of sounds calling and responding to each other in order to create a musical conversation in your drop. And the way we can start call and response is by beginning the conversation with a sound. So this is where we can create now another shot or pick another sound that will create a bit of contrast to it. So for instance, here I have this one, which sounds very nasty. It's very different. So it provides a good amount of contrast. So we could do something like this. If you want to use it like back and forth, you can do another call with that sound. You don't have to, because from there you can use another sound to call. And then we can repeat again. So now we need another response, and you can choose to follow the response with the same one again, maybe a variation to it. Call 2 can add a bit of variation. All right, so now we have this.
Such a pretty face.
Call and response can also happen at very minuscule levels. For instance, here, it feels like we can add a bit of a sound here, like a little bass shot. Let's say that I want to have the vocal here.
Such a pretty face. Lights in the sky got me feeling out of space. Lights in the sky.
Right, this is very hectic and way too much stuff going on at once. But before we had the vocal, it was just perfect, right? So here's where we can execute call and response. Let's say you're like, no, Sen, I want to just have the vocal. I want to have the vocal there playing all the way through. Then you really have to come up with a system in order to allow for the vocal to be there. For instance, let's say here, maybe like this melody can come in another time. We'll omit this out. And then we can have the vocal say what it has to say.
Lights in the sky got me feeling out of space.
And this call will come in over here now, which will transform into a response. And we would consider, right, this the call and this whole section a response. That's where it can get a little bit tricky. That's why I say when it comes to like call and response, the concept is always just making space and making sure that you think about the sounds are having a conversation throughout the drop. So here we go.
In the sky got me feeling out of space. Lights in the sky got me feeling out of
Call.
space.
We got these six responses to it.
Lights in the sky got me.
Cool, right? Call and response is amazing because we can also do it with drums. Give you an example of call and response with drums. You can also use call and response to create motifs with the drums. Now, of course, make sure you're playing the whole song together as you do that so you get stuff that fits. But for example, so then you can respond with another person. And now again, you could choose to do the call again. And now there, maybe we don't use it because the bass can also be considered a response to the ba-ba. And we can always switch the response again for variation. There you go. And then you get that do-do-do-do. So in drum and bass or bass house, you know, it's a combination of different sounds going off. And again, the rules are very similar and you can choose to kind of approach it in however you want. But here I'm going to use this new pack I've been working on called the All Stars Volume 2 pack. So for instance, we can come in with just a shot, a response to start it off. So that's like a whale call, right? Now something has to respond to it, or you can choose to keep it going. I'm going to choose to respond to it with another sound. Okay, and there we go. We have our response to that sound. So now we move to the right, just to use another sound, right? And this is like the foundation of call and response. I'm trying to have the sounds talk to each other. And a lot of it is going to come down to just contrast, right? Like one sound is staying on one note and it's more sound design heavy, while the other one, while still sound design heavy, is trying to say something to it. Like the first one's saying, "What's up?" And the other one's just kind of telling its life story, right? Again, it's all about finding the right sounds, the right combinations. Maybe use a couple of sounds to respond. We're going to use... one more time. And you can consider this, again, sounds calling and this being a full response, right? That's the tricky thing about call and response, though. Is sometimes, like, the foundations, right? But sometimes you want to do stuff like that. So now, which one's the call and which one's the response? I think that's looking too deep into it. I feel as producers, it's just kind of getting into the thought of like having the sounds interact with each other. And I'll keep repeating it so it makes sense, right? So now I'm just going to go with it. So when it comes to writing dope drops, call and response is going to be one of the biggest things that you can do for your music. Now, not every song will follow call and response. I mean, some songs like Acid are just going to go straight out acid and drums and stuff, and that's fine. Call and response is just a tool that you can use whenever you feel stuck or where you feel your drop's not really working well together, or maybe you created a drop with amazing sounds, but it's just not working. Then you can start to rearrange them. Again, thinking about it in a musical conversation where some sounds are calling, some are responding, and they're just interacting with each other is a great way to just kind of get into that mentality of playing like a jigsaw puzzle, trying to solve, okay, well, how can I rearrange these sounds to create something dope that my listeners will enjoy? And at the end of the day, guys, hopefully this video is helpful. Again, these videos are meant to be helpful for you guys. And if you guys enjoyed it, you can support all my sound design work over at evilsounds.com. All of the sounds in this video that you've heard, except this drum and bass loop, are going to be from the packs that I create for you guys, so you guys can make the best music, save time. That being said, you guys take care and you guys have a great rest of your day.